Well, the Nebraska legislature will meet in a brief emergency session this week, and they will take up how the state should handle and pay for COVID-19. Governor Pete Ricketts is asking them to move more than $58 million from the state's rainy day fund to the governor's emergency fund. It is one of the things the governor and I addressed today, trying to assess the coronavirus impact. Concern you mentioned, hospital capacity, number of hospital beds. What are you doing to ensure that we will have enough?
So, for example, what the Omaha area hospitals have done is they've canceled all their elective surgeries, so that's freeing up those ORs to potentially become ICU rooms and saving on that personal protective equipment, that PPE. And then we at the state are also looking at what are other types of facilities that we can bring online to create some more hospital beds. I was talking with the Army Corps of Engineers on Friday. They've got a program where they can take hotels and turn them into hospitals, and so we're going to be looking at that and exploring that this upcoming week. So there's a variety of things we're looking to do to be able to expand that.
And what are you doing to make sure anybody who wants to get tested or needs to get tested does get tested?
Well, right now with regard to testing, we're prioritizing the people who are at highest risk. Ultimately, we do need to be able to expand it so that more people can get that test. Now, right now, there's nobody in this country, there's no governor who believes they have enough tests to be able to give it to everybody. We all would like to have more tests available. We're not there yet. It's going to take weeks to gin up that kind of capacity, but we are seeing private industry step up to do that. We're looking at ways within our own public health lab to be able to expand the capacity. We're pursuing with Federal Emergency Management Agency ways to get more test kits so we can expand capacity that way. So we're pursuing several channels on how we can expand that capacity, do more testing.
Legislature's going to meet to deal with this crisis. What are you going to ask them to do? What do you want them to do?
So I proposed last week to the legislature a package of about $58.6 million. That includes about $3.5 million for UNMC, and the idea is for us to be able to slow down the spread of this virus. This is giving us the resources we need to be able to slow down that spread. We've asked for it to be moved from our cash reserve, our rainy day fund, and moved into the governor's emergency fund. And that way we'll be able to really keep track of all that money separately from all our other operations.
What if it's not enough? What if this pandemic goes on for months, years, and we run through the 58.6 mil?
Well, we'll certainly work with the legislature with regard to our needs and how that's panning out with regard to what we have to do here at the state. The legislature can always go back in session, and of course we expect that as the peak of this moves through, the legislature will come back from recess to finish out the rest of the legislative session. So we will continue to monitor the situation.
How close are we to a shelter in place or a lockdown situation? We were talking before this about Chicago and whatnot.
We are taking the most restrictive measurements we have in place right now in the Omaha area. It's not my intention to shut down businesses broadly in Omaha or across the state of Nebraska. We've reached kind of that highest level of restriction here in the Omaha area. It's in place till April 30th. We're going to continue to monitor it. We'll make changes as we see fit, but I'm not planning on any more restrictive steps in the Omaha area now. That April 30th deadline may be extended. It might go farther, but we're not planning on more extensive restrictions than what we have right now.
We are getting a lot of questions from parents and teachers making sure that Nebraska students don't fall too far behind, and specifically they're concerned about families who don't have access to the internet at home. What would you like your Department of Education to do to make sure that there's not a widening gap?
Again, when we talk about the schools, we're not saying they're closed, they're operating without students. So the expectation is that superintendents and educators are really working to see how they can continue that education for our students with the goal of that everybody next fall moves up a grade. So what we're really working together is get that plan in place so that all students can advance one grade for next year. There are obviously going to be challenges with regard to maybe internet access in some parts of the states or for some families, and the commissioner is aware of those and is working with the superintendents about how to address it.
Feds pushed back the federal tax deadline. A number of states have followed suit. Nebraska has not. Why not?
Well, again, additional guidance on this just came out on Friday from Secretary Mnuchin, so we are reviewing what the federal government has put out, and we said we'd get an answer back to people this week with regard to how Nebraska income taxes will be impacted by what the federal government's done.
So something may happen this week?
So stay tuned. Stay tuned. We promise to get everybody an answer this week.
We're still hearing from people who say this is all being blown out of proportion.
Well, I would say that this is one of the things about the coronavirus is that it spreads very quickly. and it is much more lethal than, say, the H1N1 virus that we had 10 years ago. This is very real. We want people to take it seriously, but we can also address it with the steps we're taking. So we do want people to practice that social distancing. If you're sick, stay home. If in the Omaha area, if anybody in your household has those flu-like symptoms, you need to stay home too. Everybody in that household needs to stay home if you've got flu-like symptoms. These are some of the social distancing things we have to practice. That 10-person rule is important. The other thing I'd say is that Nebraskans almost universally have been doing a great job. They've been stepping up to meet this challenge. They've been doing the right thing. And that's one of the things about Nebraskans. We work together, we collaborate, and we'll get through this like we always get through it, by working together.